This is Figonomics. Welcome to the second episode, hot off the heels of another heater Ahsoka episode. Unbelievable. We're going to talk Figonomics tonight. Main topic, you know it's those Clone Boys. We got two of the kings of the Clone Boys here tonight. We got Ryan from MandR Productions. We've got newly minted YouTuber, Rod the Collector. Very excited to have you guys. And of course, look at him just getting his swing on over there. We've got Brent from Brent's Bricks. I am Sean the right way. Guys, let's dive right in. This is a speed round show. Got to keep it moving. And yeah, I have no good way to turn this down. I am on the road, so I'm just going to stop the music like a jerk.
There you go.
There you go. You guys know from ACOB when I'm on the road, it's always going to be a wacky show. But again, guys, welcome to Figonomics. Thank you so much for coming back for the second show. And we are talking clones, but like I said, we would be remiss not to talk about Ahsoka. Quick thoughts around the room on that and how it impacts the Fig game. Ryan, what did you see? Because I'm going to need that couple of those ships. I'm going to need those red girls real soon. You know what I mean?
You want to close your ears, Brent? You want to take your headphones off?
I was about to make a joke about that, but sure, yeah, I'll go.
Sorry, Girth Gang. There will be massive spoilers. I'm sorry. This is part of the deal here. We got to check. We got to do gut reactions on the show, and that's going to be what we do here. So I apologize if you haven't seen Ahsoka yet. Go watch it and come back. Go ahead, Ryan.
I'll get her first. Okay. Yeah, Thrawn's pretty cool. The Star Destroyer is pretty cool. They're definitely making that as a Lego set with like the gold plating. That's sick. That little gold ship they took down is pretty. Oh, there's so much good stuff. Ezra was like, I don't even think about Ezra. That's how much I was so focused on Thrawn the whole episode.
Were you pleased with what you saw? Because we'd only really seen his back so far, right, Ryan? Did you like the front? He had like a little bit of a dad bod.
But
we did. What did you think about the dad bod?
I did. I did his dad bod. God. No, I didn't really think of the shape too much. It was fine. I was dying for the full theme, and they just kept teasing it. So I'm like, I assume they're saving it for the end of the season. But outside of like not playing his music, it was perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, interesting music choices there, Rod. From a Fig perspective, I bet there was some stuff you'd be interested in the future there.
Yeah, definitely a really cool episode. They definitely kind of just let it all hang loose.
Finally,
what they were holding back from the trailers and everything that we had seen to this point. So it was really cool, to finally see Thrawn, finally see Ezra, see some more of the Night Sisters. All the good vibes from the Clone Wars and from Rebels coming back. So it was really cool to see, some of the new characters come back, and would definitely be interested in seeing another Thrawn Fig. Would definitely be interested in seeing the new, grown-up Ezra as well. Yeah, there we go. Shout out to the GOAT. Would definitely be cool to see a new grown-up Ezra. Obviously, I'm hoping for a Ahsoka the White as well. She's definitely going to be popping back up in these last couple episodes with the big confrontation that's ahead. So definitely looking forward to seeing some new figures of those guys. Hopefully coming in a Chimera, or maybe they'll have some kind of wasteland final battle, wherever the last confrontations are going to take place. I'm sure that they'll have something cooking for us that we can look forward to for next year.
And hot off Thrawn sales on eBay. I just wanted to see. Somebody got a nice deal though, $100. I mean, was there some damage? What's happening? Because that seems kind of low nowadays for a Thrawn.
I mean, yeah, that's not bad. Not bad at all.
I don't know where else to get real-time sales data. Ryan, maybe I wish we could patch in our friends at Whatnot and see what they're doing over there, like holding Thrawn's hostage till the word gets out.
I wonder if Maddie had one today. I know that Maddie was doing an auction. Maybe he had a Thrawn for sale today. I'm not sure.
And then we'll see if I'm not saying it has anything.
There's not too many that have sold this month on Bricklink anyway, so I'm sure not. Like, my point of view on it last week that I talked about was basically like anyone who's wanted a Thrawn should have already bought one. So like I really don't get how it would like really propel it, like just because he finally shows up because everyone's known it. But
I'm not saying I was hoping it'd be instant to reinforce my point, but
yeah,
an instant. Somebody please remind me. I'll set a reminder for myself too. By the end of the show, I want to see that too. I want to see where that grows because you know that there's people watching it right now. It'd be an interesting little study to see how fast it is. I wish we had real time analytics on whatnot and stuff like that.
I did think it was interesting. It looked like they decided to make his hair black in the show, and I'm wondering if that's going to be reflected in the next minifigure or not. Because I know that was something that got touched on last week. Was like, oh, is it going to keep the dark blue hair, or is it going to be black? And it kind of just depends on what he was looking like in the episode. And it definitely looked like his hair was just black in the episode instead of dark blue. So.
Yeah, I was reading a few comments online about that, just on like the Star Wars Reddit, and I want to say someone said that they think that like the hair just gets darker as they get older, which is maybe why it's black and not blue in the show. I mean, we've known it's going to be black, I think, because he's been in the trailers, but like seeing it like in full quality is like pretty, can't avoid it. So
yeah,
the blue hair piece will always be expensive.
I guess hair is like the human or like the equivalent of clone holes or not having holes. It's like I've never heard more hair talk about figures than I have in this show. With Jace, with the green hair controversy, now we have this other one. It's like they just can't get the holes or the hair right around here. It's unbelievable. All right, jumping right in. It is clones. We're gonna go fig of the week. Look, I know this could be Captain Obvious, but I think one of the kings of the space, especially we're talking figonomics, it's been growing in value. Captain Rex, of course, one of the greatest of all time, most sought after, I would say too. Reason I bring this one up, boys, is as we know, the Venator is coming in. Ryan is a proud owner. What a story if you haven't checked out.
Downstairs on the floor, that's how I treat it.
That's how he treats it.
I have nowhere else.
But if you want to hear the epic tale, I got a sneak preview from him, but you guys go check out, I believe he had it on Ask MNR, the full deets on that. Cool story. But guys, I bring this up. Number one, it's legendary. It's seen growth. It's ticking all the boxes. But I want to know from a couple of experts, what do we think is happening? We'll start with Rod. The new fig is coming in. We know there's a potential issue from our friends south of the border importing that thing on the cheap. Mm-hmm. Do you think this stays the same? It drops, or does it maybe go up in the future because it could be viewed as the definitive and harder to get at this point? Phase 2 Captain Rex.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with OG Rex here as well as with the new one. I think that there definitely is going to be a certain population or a certain part of the population that prefers the older Rex. I think just because his torso having the like the mud marks on it, having a more accurately sized ammo pouch, a little bit more accurately sized shoulder pauldron. Like the pauldron on the new one is just so big it basically covers his entire arm, so you can't even see the printing on the one side. Also having the at least from what I've seen, Ryan can probably demonstrate for us a little bit more, but I'm pretty sure that I
thought the pauldrons were the same size, but that's definitely smaller than the one of the new one.
Yeah,
I think the pauldron on the new one is a little bit bigger. Obviously, also having the
you're pulling it up, Ryan. We're gonna full screen here real quick. Okay, go ahead, Rod.
The physical waist cape on the older one as well, and just the helmet print being more accurate to the source material, as opposed to the new one where it's based on this kind of hybrid armor style that they've been doing for the last few years. So I definitely think there's going to be a big portion of the population that still prefers the older Rex, and that population is not going to be super concerned with trying to obtain the new one. Obviously the new one, the massive ammo pouch is a little bit more accurate to the 5 seconds of him that we saw in the last week.
The iconic view of
the
iconic 5 seconds.
Yeah, the iconic 5 seconds that we saw. But I also think that the designers that were actually putting the costume together for Rex for the episode didn't really do a great job of translating that into live action. Like, I was looking at some posts on Instagram and Twitter, over the past couple of days, and people are like breaking down, like the live action phase 2 armor from what we see in Revenge of the Sith compared to what Rex's looks like in the show. And they just didn't really do a great job of translating the Phase 2 armor onto him like they should have. And so while the ammo pouch specifically is accurate, the rest of his armor isn't all that, accurate compared to his live action adaptation from what we saw in the episode last week. So, obviously there's going to be people that want to have Rex just because they want to, just because they like the character and they want to have every iteration of him if they possibly can. There's going to be, collectors out there that are just hardcore collectors, like Ryan, like ourselves, that we're probably going to end up with the Venator one way or the other just because it's UCS Venator and the build itself is incredible. And so we're going to own Rex just by, virtue of having the Venator itself. But
There you go.
I don't think that the new Rex is going to end up settling at the same price that this original one is. I would be surprised if, the UCS Rex settles at $200. I don't think he's going to get there. I don't know where
even in 10 years, you think?
I mean, even in 10 years, I don't think he's going to end up at $200. And if he does, this original Rex is probably going to be worth, $300 or $400 at the time. I think when it's all said and done, I think the original Rex is probably still going to end up being worth more than the new one, partly due to the fact that, the new one is kind of paywalled behind a much more expensive set. Not like people don't always have access to the people that are, sourcing the Rexes from, these places that we don't really know where they're coming from, where, whoever it may be that's on Whatnot is, ends up with 100 of the new Phase 2 Rex coming in.
Or 1,000, either way.
1,000, whatever the case may be. So people don't always know where to go to get to those people that are getting the Rexes in from, across the border. And the ones that are coming across the border generally don't have the cloth capes with them because I guess they're packaged separately in the process of, assembling or putting minifigures into the sets. The little cardboard container that will have the cloth pieces is separate from that. So all the people that I've been seeing that have the Rexes early don't have the cloth. So that also decreases his value a little bit because there's going to be listings for Rex with the cloth. There's going to be listings for Rex without it. So ultimately, I don't think that the new Rex is going to end up settling at the same value that the old one does. I think that, he's going to retain his value better over time, I think, than the newer one.
Brent, I see you nodding your head there. Well, full screen, Ryan. Do you want to talk about your thoughts on it? Let's get this going.
Yeah, we touched on it a little bit last week. I famously. Oh yeah. Wait.
They're the same. They're the same size, I think.
What?
I'm pretty sure it looks like a little more blue maybe on this one showing out the bottom, but I think they're supposed to be the same size piece.
Gotcha.
I think someone in chat said the picture that we got from Bricklink wasn't the official Pauldron.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But,
Sorry, guys.
Take me off.
I mean, it came from Bricklink. That's on Bricklink.
Nope, you're staying on.
I mean, Bricklink, I think has users just do it.
Yeah, all right. Well, sorry, guys, for having a phony Rex there, but you guys get the gist.
No. I mean, even still, the fact that he has arm printing, the fact that they didn't change the size and it's still just as big and covering 95% of it, you still can't see it. So
it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think last week, Ryan, depending on what people are getting them for, because that's the market we're in now.
The Rexes are already selling for like $35.
Yeah, so there you go. So the market's set at 35. Yeah, go ahead.
So my experience with this is like in 2017, I bought the UCS Millennium Falcon. And when I went to sell I drop tested it and I was not rebuilding it. So I'm like, I'm going to sell it on, buy a sealed one. And at the time it was sold out everywhere. So I sold the set for like $700 without figs. And I sold the figures. I think Han and Leia were $100 each at the time. Han and Leia, like, yeah, cool characters, but like in like today's world of like how rabid the like clone space is, you would think Rex would be worth even more than $100. But because of what's going on in Mexico now, the Rex is worth pennies on the dollar compared to what it would be. And I do think that is unfair to people who legitimately go out and buy a product and then want to sell their product later that someone else or just the complete market has been saturated and devalued because Lego is allowing people to possibly steal them. Like most of the people that you're buying them from probably did buy them from someone else, and it's not their fault. But like at its core, it's Lego's fault, and that's where I'm. Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway,
And we saw a similar phenomenon with the Cody, right? So Cody was opening at about $30-ish from similar
Fox 2.
paths to the market, and
Yeah.
Fox and Vaughn.
I've had
and,
this since before the set came out.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. I mean, for me, again, oh, by the way, we have to give the disclaimer. This is not an investment show at all, or we don't give you financial advice or whatever the term is. But for me, I think this is kind of the premier wreck still, especially with everything that's going on. And it's vintage. You know, a lot of people like the design better. I think this is the one to go with. And I'll be curious to see once those flood the market if this lifts a little bit. And I think to your point, Rod, maybe it might not be. I think there will be some sort of immediate bump, maybe 10, 15, 20, nothing crazy. But I do think over time, I think it will continue to climb and maybe significantly. So we'll have to check back in on the Rex.
There's a reason why I'm buying mine back from Tyler after I sold it to him in Chicago.
For our high volume figure this week, I went with Wolf here on the image, but I'm going to say, you know, all the commanders. Just talking to my whatnot friends, looking at numbers. I kind of came up with a blended number on Wolf at 145. I think some of the other commanders are sort of in and around that number. Obviously, there's some variance with some of these guys, but I think everyone's going after all the commanders generally. Ryan, your thoughts? Why are we seeing the commanders all kind of go up?
Probably because Lego's like obviously just the general increase in interest in it, but also like Lego making Fox and Cody and Rex makes people want to get like the rest of them that are maybe less well known in a way.
Have the
like,
rainbow.
yeah, you just want to have them all like for your army or for your collection or whatever. So I would imagine there's a lot to do with that brings people into it. Yeah. All but Gree is only a $15 fig. Yeah, Gree came in a book or like a couple different books or something, and that's why.
Isn't there there's a $50 Gree though with like the darker tan?
Phase 2, yeah, there is.
Hey,
but yeah, the Phase 1 is like compared to like a lot of the other ones, way cheaper than the other Phase 1 commanders, like Fox, Cody, Rex, and I can't remember who the other one was.
I think Maddie was selling the P1 Gree for like $13 on his Buy It Now and whatnot. So
yeah.
Yeah, so I think, to Ryan's point, I think that's what's happening. Rod, any takes on this? As far as named clones, it seems like these, let's call them second tier. I'm still kind of learning. I'm still learning Clone World. More of a mainline films guy, but I'm getting into it. I'm on season 4 now, but it seems like Ryan's assessment seems right. People just kind of want to have all the leaders in the OG versions too if they come again.
Yeah.
Come out again.
Yeah, I mean, definitely when, like Ryan said, like when you get some of the Phase 2 versions of them coming out, it kind of like you get that little adrenaline kick where it's like, oh, like, now I got the Phase 2. Now I need to go back and get, track down the Phase 1, for all the collectors who maybe weren't around when the Phase 1 Cody was coming out, like 2009, 2010. That was 13 years ago. That's a long time. That's a lot of time for new fans, to start collecting and to start getting into Lego. So for all the people that got a Phase 2 Cody, last year, whatever, they're like, oh man, now I need the Phase 1. Let me go track down a Phase 1 Cody so I have both. So I definitely think that plays a part in it where we're getting these Phase 2 versions, and now people want to go back and make sure they pick up the Phase 1s as well. And also, I think just from a general like collecting standpoint, as far as Star Wars characters go, I know that I was this way. Before they had the Black Series, they had the 3 3/4 Clone Wars action figures. And I remember like going to Walmart like day one to try and get some of them, and they had that special like metallic sticker where it was like, day one release for those guys. And I remember like I was literally just looking at them yesterday. I probably had like 100 of those 3 3/4 Clone Wars figures, and the only ones that made it to my new house here in Birmingham from my old house are the Clone Commanders. that I just gravitated towards the clone commanders more than even some of the other named clones, like even more than like, Waxer and Boyle or Buzz and Draw, whatever the case may be. The clone commanders were just always cooler to me than any of the other clones. So I prioritized making sure that those traveled with me with the rest of my collection. So I have downstairs my phase 1 and 2, 3 3/4 Cody, Rex, Fox, all of them are down there with me. And so I think that it's probably the same way with the minifigures, where people just tend to gravitate more towards the clone commanders just because they always have cooler armor than their regular troops, and they have more personality, and they're like with Fox and Rex specifically, like Fox had or Rex or Wolf has the one eye that's gone, so that instantly like makes him cooler than almost any other clone character that you have. Rex has bleach blonde hair. Gree has the two cornrows or whatever you want to call it. So like they all have more personality and like more cool factor than basically all of the other clone characters, which I think is why people are always gravitating towards the officers, whether it be minifigures, 3 3/4, Black Series, whatever the case may be. The officers are always going to be more interesting. So.
And just to kind of explain what the title of this is, so we're going to do 2 tonight because obviously there's some army build, just a little bit of army building going on with these boys. Mm-hmm. This is the high volume sort of named characters. That's kind of what that means. Ryan, any closing thoughts before we move on to the high volume sort of normal clone troopers here?
No, I don't think so. I think Rod said it well. Covered everything.
I know. We should just turn it all over to Ron. He's giving really complete answers. I have nothing to add. Here we go. All right. Disgusting. I know it's disgusting, but guys, according to Bricklink, where there is some sales data over the last 6 months, man, now that I'm looking at this blown up, Bricklink has some bad pictures. This guy's already yellowing. Anyway, the Clone Heavy Trooper is the highest volume Lego Star Wars selling figure besides battle droids. I'm not going to put battle droids in this one. I want to say, what is it? Yeah, I've got it on here. The volume has been 11,000 of these bad boys in the last 6 months.
Who's buying these?
I don't know, but it is doubling the other variants that are in the same set that's on shelves today. Ryan, besides who's buying these, what's your reaction to hearing this is the top selling besides battle droids?
So I'm pulling these up on Bricklink as you speak, and I found them. These are available in like huge quantities, which I mean, yeah, it's in a commonly found battle pack, which is cheap, makes sense. But I think what's more interesting is this: the pricing on this is really reminiscent of like 2015 Bomb Squad Troopers or something. They were like $3 each. These I can get these for $3.59 each, $3.37, $3.20 down to $3.05 if I buy 150. These are just dirt cheap, which I assume is why they're moving so much, inventory quantity. But it looks like a lot of it's just like bulk. I don't know. I'm just kind of browsing through it quickly.
Shout out to Shy. What's happening?
What's up, Shy?
What up, dude?
It is selling like a startling amount of the like. There are a lot of these moving for a figure that I consider to be not good. Like,
I think maybe this is tinfoil hat, but part of it is probably also just mathematical. This is the one figure that you get 2 of in the battle pack, right? So naturally, there's going to be twice the amount of this figure compared to the other 2 figures in the battle pack in circuit, like just out in the wild, period. Because as soon as someone buys one, they only have 1 officer and 1 specialist, but they have 2 heavies. So I think just due to how the battle pack was constructed, it makes sense that there would be more of these sold. Maybe, I mean, I don't know if it's exactly like a 2-to-1. Maybe it's more than 2-to-1 that this guy is selling compared to the other 2 in the set. But I think another part of the reason that this guy in particular might be getting more sales is because if the sellers are selling him how they think they are, they're selling him with the printed backpack tile. And I think that people really probably like that piece because they can throw it on other figures in their army to, create more medics or just recreate scenes that they want to make that have that have backpacks on them, because clone troopers carry backpacks with droid poppers in them in half the episodes of the Clone Wars that we see. So I would speculate.
Bring that up, Brent.
Oh yeah, I would speculate that maybe part of the draw for this guy is that the sellers are selling them with the backpacks included, and people can use those to throw on their other figures. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Just an interesting
real quick, Ryan, because I'm terrible at this. Guys, if you're new around here or if you've been here a while,
25 minutes later,
I know, please like and sub. Thank you. We appreciate your business. No, but seriously, we're getting started on some really cool stuff here. Like and sub, be notified of the next Figonomics next week. Thanks for stopping by. Go ahead,
also
Ryan.
sub to everybody in the panel right here.
Yeah, sub to everybody in the panel.
Sean doesn't have a channel, but
I don't. This is my only baby. It's the only girl. Well, besides
Probably
my wife and my daughter. But this is the only channel I work on. That's the ACOP channel.
Okay,
Ryan, real quick, because there's a funny comment, and then say your thoughts. Sorry, Lego Dude 2007. Do it, Ryan. Order 150 heavies for the culture.
Nah, I might order more of the specialist ones though. Those are really cheap, and I actually think those look good because they have the nice macros. But
price wise, they're the same. By the way, they're only a couple cents difference. So interesting. But to your point, Rod, that is why they're selling double, because there's double the price. That makes sense.
I looked up, so the 332nd battle pack, it's newer, so maybe it's worth comparing what its sales in 6 months are compared to what the sales of that set is today, or the figures from that set are today. But the newer 332nd troopers, just compared side by side, the current availability of 332nds, which again there's 3 of in the battle pack versus the 2 of the heavies. There are 1,500 332nds on Bricklink, with the helmet holes obviously, and there are 11,000 heavy troopers. Just mind-numbing difference there. And your month of September sales on the 332nd, you're looking at 564 total versus 1,249 on the heavies. So for whatever reason, less interest in the 332nd. I don't know. Maybe.
Let me ask you this. And if you guys mentioned it, I'm sorry, I'm driving the board, doing a bunch of stuff. But do you think this has to do with some continuity from the OG 501sts? In other words, maybe people got into it midstream and they didn't quite get enough, and they're just kind of buying a bunch of these to bulk out their 501sts a bit more. In other words, are these figures definitely getting the rub, and there's a reason they released these just after the other 501sts, right? Or no?
Well, so Ryan, you said that over 1,000 of the heavies sold this past month, and only about 500 of the 332nd.
Yeah, it's half.
Okay, I would speculate that that's probably just due to the fact that the 501st are a little more well known, a little more iconic than the 332nd. The 332nd had a 4-episode arc in the Clone Wars, but the 332nd or the 501st have been around since episode 3. So they've been a part of this, they've been a part of the universe for a lot longer. And so, even though there are going to be more 332nds in the battle pack versus 2 in this one, I think just the fact that 501st is a little bit more iconic will probably lend to them selling well.
Yeah.
Selling better than other lesser known legions in general over time. So. And also, maybe you got people out there that are like Ryan that are well, I know the 332nd only has a certain number in it. And so it's once I hit that number, I'm cool, and I don't need it. I don't need any more. Whereas, there could be thousands upon thousands of 501st week, and we have no idea how many there were, in total. So, people would be as strict as they're collecting for 501st compared to 332nd.
And as far as when you're building out your armies, there is sort of a max, right, for figs of this type, the heavies, the specialists. They're never going to, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? But I might be stating the obvious, but they're not ever going to outpace just the sort of regular clone troopers, right? That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the specialized ones you're never going to want to have as many of the the standard foot soldiers. So that
right.
also plays a part.
Yeah, you get your girth from the regular guys. I get that. So it's interesting to see. I was just wondering if people are still just trying to beef it up a little bit with with these, because if you just glance at them real quick, I don't know, maybe you can have a few rows of these and claim to have more sort of OG 501sts. I don't know. Anything, Brent? What do you think? Are you surprised this is the top selling outside of Droids Lego Star Wars figure currently on Bricklink?
Yeah, a little bit, but I mean,
Volume.
I think everything we've covered makes sense. How there's 2 in the pack. I feel like people, I mean, aside from Shy's buying like every 332nd battle pack he sees, but I feel like people are a little bit more fond of the 501st. So, and honestly, I just think the hype from the first 501st battle pack was just so high for so long. It kind of overflowed into this next one, even though these ones have helmet holes and they're not as good or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think the hype around just the 501st Legion in general has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I think these definitely.
And this battle pack's been on sale for $16 for a little while now. I think someone mentioned in the chat. So
yep, no, good call out. Yes, Rod, I was DMing you in private. You're frozen.
Oh shoot!
You might want to drop and re-add because your voice was going too, bud. But what a great frozen image. Can we all just sit there and admire Rod? No, he's gone. All right, guys. So that was the heavy volume. Ryan, as far as just like what you're seeing, though, I mean, I know this one wasn't like a sexy pick. This is more of a facts-based one based on the data we're seeing. But I don't know. You're out there in the world. What are you seeing people start to amass that's decently priced?
People always want stormtroopers. And then there's the a figure pack coming out, which I actually need to email someone about. But
there he is.
Sorry about that.
You're good.
Laptop is disconnected from the Wi-Fi for whatever reason.
Oh.
People always want stormtroopers, so those aren't. I think those are kind of going well for most people. Like there's like I had a bunch of the Rebels ones, and people were all about those. I think with the new some potentials from the Ahsoka show with stormtroopers, people could be more interested in them, and we'll see what comes of that from Lego's like official end. But I wouldn't expect too many different variations, I guess. But yeah.
I can't wait to have a Stormy show. I'm so excited about that. Rod, I'm old as hell. I'm more of a Stormy guy, but these guys are trying to turn me into a clone boy. I definitely appreciate them a lot more than I did previous. I'm open-minded,
Yeah.
But I still would, I'd rather go into battle with the OG Stormies. They'll always just look cooler to me, even though they're factually not as skilled. And I get all that. I don't know. Nothing does it for me like the old black and white Stormies. What can I tell you?
Alicia in the chat
Storm Wars. There you go.
Wants to know if we think I think she's talking about this specific figure. Like, will it appreciate in value over the next decade? I can't imagine a figure like this being worth $20. I don't see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's a great question. Now, Ryan, let me put this question on all of you guys. The circulation, right? We're talking about these sky high prices, the Rex, etc. 10 years ago, and I think that's why we're using the number 10, right? Like this Rex is okay. The circulation is so massive now. We don't really get these numbers, I don't think, Ryan. But what would you say, like? Battle packs today, are they releasing and maybe selling through maybe 5x what they used to sell in 2013? Like,
I used to be like really naive with it, and I was like, yeah, maybe they make 10 or 20,000 of a set or whatever. And then like one day, I think I was just doing the math on like how many Targets and Walmarts there are alone in America, and like you got to assume every Target and Walmart at bare minimum is getting a case of a thing, which is like depending on the set 4 to 8. And then on top of that, they're probably getting restocks throughout the course of 2 years, all the online sales, every store in every other country, Lego.com. And there's 1,000 Lego stores apparently in the world now.
Don't forget Amazon and all Kohl's. Shout out to Kohl's.
All the like mom and pop stores, they must be making so many of these. I couldn't even begin to guess. Yeah, I don't know. that's
no, but my point is, I think with the recent sort of COVID bump, I think, without knowing, there's going to be a lot more of these in circulation than what was happening in 2013. Undoubtedly, Lego Star Wars. It might not be peak anymore because we might have already seen that. I don't know, but it's definitely more. We just don't know how much more. And so, Alicia, the reason I go to bring that whole monologue up is because I think that's definitely going to impact value on these. But to Rod's point earlier, because they're 501st, they're cousins with an already iconic set. Shout out to Ryan. I think these will. I don't know if they'll hit 10, but you'll make a few bucks on these if you buy a couple hundred of them, I suppose, in time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I do think it will be really interesting because we haven't had the time for it to like mature yet. But I think a lot of like these like clone figures that like half the people think are crap and then half the other people are like it's fine, but they don't really love. Like I just don't see a route where they become any like bit significantly valuable because you just don't have the demand because half the people just don't like them, and there goes half your potential purchasing base versus like the 2014 era where like everyone pretty much agrees those figures look really, really good. You're just gonna have way more people interested in it, and on top of the fact that they, like you brought up, we're probably just making way less of them. So yeah.
Lego dude, again, I don't know that's an for me it's not really an investment show. We might say things like that. I think that for me it's
I'm not investing in these.
Yeah, get this stuff if you want to get it before we will kind of talk through whether it goes up or not. That's what I'm doing here. I'm like, do I need to get this P2 Rex suit before it gets out of reach? Not to resell, but for my collection. For other people, if that's what they want to do, hey man, I'm all for it. I don't see anything wrong with reselling stuff. That's how the entire world works.
I think it'll be interesting to see as well how the new shock troopers are going to, how their prices are going to change in the next few years compared to the ones from, I guess it was 2014 that came in the Coruscant police gunship. Let me make sure I say that right. So because we have 2 Coruscant gunships now, so the police one, yeah. So Ryan's showing us some nice ones for the new shocks.
Shocking.
But, yeah, I think that, like Ryan said, I think that if you ask most people, a majority of them would agree that the older shock troopers are the superior version compared to the new one. And so, I think that I don't foresee the new ones, just like with these clone heavies. I don't foresee the new shocks like significantly escalating in price like the old ones did. Like, I mean, I don't know what they go for right now, but I know, the old shock troopers would sell for like $60, $70 a pop at one point in time. And I really don't see the new ones getting there. Even though they're in a more expensive set, they're in a $140 set, and the police gunship, I think was like $50 or $60 when it released. So the new ones are in a more expensive set, but they're not of the same quality. And we're supposedly getting one in the battle pack coming out next year. So I just don't see them, I don't see them going up in price like the old ones did, to Ryan's point, because they're not of the same quality. So
Tyler's dropping some good wisdom down here. Shout out to Tyler, Life Bricks. He's saying 90%, or I should say takes. We don't know if it's wisdom yet, but he's saying like 90% of everything 2021 January or later won't ever be worth a damn. I don't know about that, but I just think relatively because of the volume. And guys, let's face it. Now, this stuff being on sale is not a new phenomenon. Obviously, you guys have been around for a lot longer, but it does feel like most everything is on sale. Has it always been that way, guys? Like back in the day, was stuff like constantly on sale, or was it only towards like the end of life usually?
You want to go, Rod, or
you can go.
I feel like it's pretty much the same. Like
20% off here and there.
Yeah, Walmart would have their rollback. Target has their sales every couple months on varying themes, and it rotates. Toys R Us used to have like buy one get one 40% off, I want to say, a lot of the time, which is the equivalent of 20% off, of course. So yeah, I don't think anything is like on sale more than it would have been in the past, and Lego's clearly selling more stuff than they did in the past. So like you would think they wouldn't need to do it. So yeah, I don't think anything of it. I don't know if someone asked that specifically, but yeah.
just
Yeah.
me. I feel like I don't know. Because a lot of people called out, $15.99 on that battle pack. I'm sure 330 seconds. If they haven't gotten there, they will soon enough. The
Yep.
snow troopers already have. Obviously, they've been out a long time. All right, moving on to the next one. So I pulled a couple again of our whatnot friends. This one I even had the vibe on just because I'm getting in more of those streams and sort of in sponge mode, and I'm learning and Kashyyyk in general, but this, we're just talking sort of the regular clone troopers. These have been going up quite a bit lately. If you go to like Brick Economy, you can kind of see just the chart just continuing to climb. Brent, what do you think of the Kashyyyk troopers? Are you surprised that they're going up? I mean, I think even if you know nothing, like I did when I first saw them, I'm like, they're badass, and now I've done my homework on them. I get it, but I just think they look great, and I'm not surprised this is a one that's on the move.
This wasn't the one that was in the AT.
This was Battle Pack.
This
This
is
is
the
just
battle
from the
pack.
battle pack. Okay, yeah, the only Kashyyyk ones I got were from like the AT. What is it? ATTP or AT
ATDP,
something? AT. Yeah.
ATDP, I think.
AP.
Oh,
Yeah.
ATDP.
It had the phase 2 Gree, but I mean, dude, I love anything from Kashyyyk. So it doesn't surprise me. I almost bought some Kashyyyk scout troopers. Shout out to Maddie's minifigs over on whatnot.
Yep.
But I try not to let myself get too nuts spending money on whatnot. I've been able to, be kind to my wallet. But yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, to me, I always love any of the clone troopers that kind of have like the camo. Like, I don't know which clone this is.
That's a
Because-
Geonosis one.
Geonosis.
That's what I
almost
figured. I
went-
just didn't want to say the wrong thing. But I mean, clones like this with the different camos and
the
stuff.
different
they're
fatigue.
just-
Yeah.
yeah, they're just cool.
I
They're
think-
just different.
So, in fairness, I'm glad you brought that up, Brent. Those were the two most mentioned. Rod, we'll get your take. Obviously, not surprising to you, probably, but Kashyyks and Geonosis, as far as like on the rise, sort of, legions are going up. What's your take on this? You think they'll continue to go up, these guys, or is there any sign of them coming back? Or we know they're watching Bricklink. You think we're going to get a re-release ever? What's happening with Kashyyks?
I mean, so I think I'm not exactly sure on the price for the Geo Phase 2s right now, but if I'm not mistaken, the Geo Phase 2s never showed up in any Star Wars content that we've seen so far. Maybe they were like a skin in Battlefront, but as far as like the movies and shows, I don't think we've ever seen them. So that was another case where, kind of like with the 187th, where it's like technically they're not like canon, what everyone considers to be canon at the moment. But they, still went ahead and did it, and they made some really cool looking figures with it, and I appreciate that they did that. The Geos, these Kashyyks, the Utapau troopers, the 212, the older 212 trooper battle pack, and the ARC trooper versus elite droid battle pack. Those all came out, I think, like 1 year after the other, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe they were within 2 years of each other. But they all came out around that kind of what we are looking at as the golden era of clone troopers right now, from roughly 13 to 2015, I'd say. And so I think that people are seeing, the product that's on shelves right now, the Phase 2 clone troopers that we're seeing right now, and then are looking back and comparing to what we had 10 years ago, and are like, holy smokes, like I missed out on these. I need to go and get me some. And, like you said, these are the only Phase 2 Kashyyyk troopers that we have, standard ones so far. Obviously, they had 2 scouts in the battle pack as well, but you also have that OG Kashyyyk scout from way back when that still had the open visor and the black head, and that guy's always going to be, expensive because he only came in one set. He's 20 years old. The nostalgia for the classic look is always going to have appeal, so that guy's always going to be expensive. I mean, if they did make new Phase 2 Kashyyyk clone troopers, I imagine they would be done in the kind of hybrid armor template that we're seeing right now. I imagine they would have the double holes. And, for that reason, being that he's not as accurate to the source material he's supposed to represent, people probably are not going to be as high on him. So, definitely as far as it goes, if they don't ever make another one, then I definitely do see him, this one as well as the other, Kashyyyk Scout that came with them. I definitely see them, continuing to increase in price. Even if they do make another one, it's probably not going to be as accurate, probably not going to be the same quality. So he's probably still going to rise in that case, but probably not at the same rate that he would, so long as he's the only version that's, available for people to buy. I mean, I think he's a really great figure. Yeah, and a little bit of hip printing never hurts as well. So I would see him continuing to rise. I don't know if he's going to be $100, but I do see that. I do think he'll continue to gain a little bit of value over time, just because he is so good, and for the moment, is the only one we got.
Ryan, your take on this? I mean, another just thought of mine is, these are showing up in more and more mocks that I'm seeing too. That's going to dry up the market too. That's a contributing factor, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah, definitely. I want to build Kashyyyk. I ended up buying a bunch of these at Brick Fair this year again, second year in a row I did that, and now I really want to build a Kashyyyk build. But, like, can't do that. Not good
about
enough.
That Hoth build though.
Yeah, exactly.
You gonna put them on Hoth, or what are we doing?
So like this, I think people realize that as of now, of course, there's always the chance they'll change philosophy in the future, as they've changed philosophy in the past to make them worse. They could make them better, but people know that if they were to release this figure today, it would be worse. Now, I think the blended clone armor style is like fine. Like I just don't even think about it anymore, honestly, Rod. I do think the holes are they're what make the figure look goofy. I haven't uploaded obviously, but in my Thrawn review, we have the like Grand Admiral rank here, and it's like just wrong, but it's not the type of wrong that makes a figure look bad. It's wrong if you know it's wrong, and like they should have it right, but like it's not wrong where it like completely takes you out of it, like the helmets on the clones do. So you have that, and then on the other side of things with the Kashyyyk Scout Trooper, the cheaper one, with the game they've leaked basically that they would reuse the Scout Trooper helmet. So I think there's a chance there's some people out there that know like whatever version's coming out would be worse and not necessarily what they're looking for. And so they're just like, all right, time to bite the bullet. I'll buy the old one, whatever. Because if they're just going to reuse the Imperial version of the helmet, which they did in the early 2000s, and that was fine because it was the early 2000s, but they clearly passed that mark of quality in 2014. To see them go back to that would be sad. So even though the Scout Trooper helmet's amazing, it's just not amazing for a Kashyyyk Scout Trooper. So, yeah. I think these figures are really good. I think people are starting to realize how good they are. And even though they're Battle Pack clones, they'll probably keep going up because is this? Yeah, I know you said the Geo clones weren't in anything. Is this figure or character in the movie? I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure we saw some of these guys and some of the scouts in the scene with Yoda right when Order 66 is happening, and on Kashyyyk with the Wookiees. I'm pretty sure these guys.
It's labeled as a. Yep, that's it, Rod, and it is labeled as a Revenge of the Sith set.
And they're trying to gun down Yoda. So.
Yep.
Thank you,
that's
DSL.
This
is a pipe dream, but I know we've talked about the potential in 2025 of a 20th anniversary wave of Revenge of the Sith, and how cool would it be if we got some of these guys in a battle pack and then a Wookiee battle pack? Imagine that, 2 battle packs to actually go against each other. Wow, you never think they would ever do that.
Well, we could.
That's right, not to go against, but to go alongside of. I should.
Don't do much fighting, I guess.
Well, once they turn on them, it could be fun though. That'd be cool. See, Ryan, that's a continuity. Ryan, that's a continuity set right there, man. First, you have them be buddies, right? You give the little palpy, and then you swivel them, and they fight each other. What a ride that would be,
That's the storyline.
All right, so we'll close out on Kashyyyk. We got one more to go, boys. Again, if you're new here, please like and sub. There's 120 something of you guys here in the chat. We appreciate you tuning in just after another heater episode of Ahsoka. We'll try to stay spoiler free from this point on, but it was hard too because a lot of cool stuff happened. Let's go on to Hot Prospect. So, prospect definition for this show is figs that you can either get inexpensively, Rod, or figs that are undervalued. Let's say that you might want to think about grabbing just because of scenarios where they will go up in the future, or figs that are readily available on shelves. I think this is an obvious choice of the sort of clones that are available on shelves today. We talked about the 501sts earlier. You got the 332nds. You've got these and the 212s if you want to count the ATTE. I don't know. I mean, it's a purple clone. I mean, you really don't need to.
I like them a lot.
Pretty cool.
It's not in canon. I was talking with Fritz today, who gave a really plausible shout out to Fritz on Whatnot. He'll be back soon. But he gave a very plausible case, guys, that these could somehow be worked into canon somehow. That would make these really explode. But we'll start with Ryan on this one. Thoughts on, is this the hottest prospect of the clones that you can get pretty easily now? I think the price is showing something, as far as what they're kind of going for.
Yeah, it's held like really well above $10, which obviously like the figures that are in the cheaper battle packs, and obviously it's half the price, so of course, but still they're less than half as cheap, I would say. So I think that this is just one of the last really good looking clone troopers we might get for a good while. Anything that doesn't have a visor now is just not that great, and so what they did here was very good. It's obviously not canon, which means it's highly, highly, highly unlikely we will see it again. Much like the Geonosis troopers, like we're not getting Geonosis troopers again, at least anytime soon. I wouldn't expect it, and so like there's just no reason that a figure like this would be remade, unless of course, I guess I don't know the theory on it, but like if these are to appear in some way in a show, but like I don't see it. It's like if the Clone Wars was ongoing, I'd be on board with whatever the theory is. But unless it's like rock solid, I can't get in there. So yeah, I don't know. The fighter tanks is store exclusive. Tyler points out, not sold at Walmart. Not even in Lego stores anymore. They're like only on Lego.com. They like don't even put it on the shelves there. I think like at least in Disney Springs, I haven't seen it in like a year. And they did this on the back end of the 501st lifespan. They just stopped selling some sets in stores, I think, because they literally don't have the shelf space to do it. I don't think it's anything like particular, with certain sets. They just run out of shelf space. And they're like, all right, we got to take some things off. So, yeah, I think this has some high upside.
Yeah, it's got the DNA, right? I mean, it's doesn't have, if you're an anti-helmet holder like Ryan, if you're into stuff that is exclusives, I mean, I don't recall it being on sale at Target or the Lego store. Just recapping what everybody's saying in the chat and you guys on the panel. Again, it's purple. Purple's a cool looking color. It's with Mace. Mace is a popular Jedi. It's just got the DNA to where it was a heater when it came out. It's going to stay a heater. And if you want to build your little army of them, I'd start jumping on them, because if you think, and by the way, these prices up here, guys, 14 is representing new and 11's used, whatever that means, because it's either got damaged or not or whatever. Whatnot boys are saying they're getting about 12 a piece for them, but I think when they retire, they're definitely going to go up. The question is by how much. So if you're wanting to get them now for your armies or otherwise, definitely grab some of these. Brent, you're a big fan. How many of these? How many of these boys do you have?
I only got one, man, and after this conversation, I'm realizing more that I need.
Hold them up. Hold up your box of boys, would you?
Oh, what? This is like a deluxe box of boys, though, right? Like this isn't.
Did you guys see the video we posted on our Insta?
With Shy? Oh, you mean the box of boys?
Oh, Rod doesn't know about the box of boys check yet? Rod, dude, we got
a box of boys is more, this is more of a box of boys. I mean, technically
that's a true box of boys, yeah.
Technically speaking, this is a box of boys, but it's a little more of a deluxe box. Thing about a box of boys is, you go on a Target run Walmart run, right? You know, get a couple groceries. It's hard not to swing through the Lego aisle. They don't have anything you need, but who does? We even got merch for it. Who doesn't
guys.
need a box? Just a little Target toss, a little toss in the cart. You know, never
Little
hurt.
Target toss, little box of boys. You know, you're a married man, Rod. You've been sent to Target. We all know. You know, you're sent for a quick. You're sent for a quick run. She's never going to notice the little 20 missing out of the account. You just toss a box of boys when you're
$20
all the crap. For me, I'm on a diaper. I'm like diapers for the baby, box of boys for daddy. You know, we can all relate. This is our hottest merch in the game, box of boys. You'll appreciate this as an athlete, Rodrigo. We are in champion gear here. You got the ACOB logo on the arm there. There will be new color variants coming. This is quickly becoming our top selling shirt. I just heard from our friend Sidious. So there you go. Get your box of boys.
The Ahsoka one is nice. I had not seen that one. That one is nice.
Ryan, I will send you one the day you wear your ACOB heater shirt.
I put it on yesterday. It was really small, so we should iron that out.
All right.
We'll get you another one.
Box of boys check real quick while we have a minute. Did anyone buy a box of boys today? In the chat or on the panel? I did not buy a box, although I am going to the Disneyland Lego store just after this show because it's early out here on the West Coast.
Pick up a box of boys.
I might grab a box of boys. I don't know. We'll
grab a little box of boys.
A little one, too. It never hurt. It makes every day better.
No boxes of boys over here today.
Now, Sean, are you going to get the 501st
or 336?
Like
interesting openings of the boxes of boys now. We get sent all kinds of wild stuff. And, you know, Rod, I don't know you well, and I would never want to put that precious right leg in peril. But, you know, if you could somehow unbox a box of boys.
Just absolutely boot one. That would be hilarious.
I might have to pick up a box of boys just to make that video.
That'd be
let's go.
That'd be a hilarious short.
Now that we're posting on YouTube, if I could have 5 seconds for a shameless plug, anyone that is not
Please.
already, doesn't already subscribe, I'll pop a comment in the chat so you guys can go click on my profile. But posting on YouTube. Just threw up a video yesterday from visiting Bricks and Minifigs down here in Alabama.
It's a fun vid.
Now that I'm posting, I might just have to make a kicking open a Lego set type video and see how it goes.
So great.
Well, I think kicking open, there's so much you could do, right? Again, listen, you know, that leg's worth a fortune, sir. But I will say, real quick.
Go ahead.
Go.
I was going to say, though, there might be a point where the set gets too big where I might start to.
That's what I was
like. So probably need to keep it with some smaller sets, but yeah, I'm sure we could figure something out.
Here's what I'm picturing. I'm not picturing you, place kicking a Venator. What I'm picturing is you just get a little, maybe a snap, maybe not, but maybe a holder, and you just boot a box of boys through the uprights. We see if it survived. I mean, there's a lot of different. Obvious in my mind what needs to happen. And now that you've officially join the box of boys nerddom with us. It's a video I think we'd all like to see. Girth Gang, let them know. We would definitely watch that. And guys, everybody in here, make sure you like and sub. Your channel is not Rod the Collector, right? It's under your Rodrigo. You said you'll post it, right?
Yeah,
I dropped the link already.
98. Oh. Cool.
Yeah, there we go.
Of course, go sub to Ryan if you haven't. If you're watching this show, there's a good chance you already subbed to Ryan. Brent from Brent's Bricks. And then, if you're just here for ACOP, sub to this channel because this is, where I hang out. Guys, any closing?
I think we're going to close tonight with our first super chat of the stream.
Hit it, Brent.
Tyler coming through with the $1.99 dono. ATOT with dropship is the true deluxe box of boys.
That's true.
That's quite the deluxe. There.
Because Ryan asked for it, the official last segment of the show every week is last call. Ryan, anything you want to bring up as a last call? An hour is hard to go through clones. We did it
last week. In the last week, the only thing I can think of that I've seen on like YouTube comments that I'm like I should bring that up because I thought it was an interesting comment. Someone was just like they should put Rex in a minifigure foil pack, and I'm like. No, they shouldn't. They also said he's actually no. This is actually worth going a little bit deeper into, just figure wise. Lego in the instruction manual for the Venator did say that it is exclusive to the Venator, which makes me hopeful we'd get a better Rex in another set. If crappy Rex is exclusive and we can move away from that, that's great. I'm over it. But yeah, so like it's good to know we won't get the. It's probably the fact that they'll just put regular blue arms on them instead of printed arms, but one can hope, I guess. But anyway, exclusive figures are back, right? That's the takeaway.
Yeah.
Yularen is exclusive.
Yes.
Until he shows up in the Advent next year, right? And then,
Yeah.
I don't like. I know you're joking, but like,
I'm
they said
half
he's
joking.
exclusive in the
I am
instruction
half joking.
That's contractually binding and should be forever, right? Like,
Well, they could.
They also said we didn't know what the gunship pilot looked like too, right? So that's
what were you
something
gonna
else.
say, Rod?
I was just gonna say they could throw Yularen in the Advent calendar next year with the regular solid gray legs instead of dual molded, and then it's a different figure.
Got him.
Yeah, I'm sure they got something cooking.
Yeah.
And Tyler with another gem. He wants all 1,200 Star Wars figs in a $20 battle pack.
Probably would have cost like to produce them.
All right, this guy's posted this a few times. How many MandRs would it take to beat Pong Krell?
Never.
Okay.
Zero, unlimited.
Unlimited. Okay.
I don't have a lightsaber.
Is there really that many? Are we to the point there is 1,200 unique figs, right? Somewhere in that range.
Sounds right, which is scary. Just have to.
And I think we've gotten a lot of new figs. We got some rookies this year as well. 1179. Here comes Tyler with we'll call it semi-facts right now. Because he gave the weasel word at the end, I believe.
Yeah, you get you give yourself a little wiggle room there.
We'll get hoping we get a Rex and a Lucasfilm employee gift with dual molded light nougat legs. Yeah.
Oh, that's from the Yoda, that's the Yoda's Fountain joke, I think.
That was a Yoda joke. Did you ever reel that in? Sorry, did you ever reel that in, Ryan? The Yoda, I forget whether you got the official.
Someone offered to sell it to me for $3,000 the other day, and I'm unwilling to pay like more than $500. I just won't do it. I won't pay more than like $500, and even $500 feels wrong. I know the price will come down. I know it's insane right now. I won't do it. Like I will buy a lot of stupid things, but that I will not. I won't.
Yard sale, Brick World next year. You'll find one for a good.
Yeah, sure. Maybe not, but
maybe I don't know.
No, just Roundtable as the last call. Exclusive figures and UCS sets. Yes or no? Just yes or no. Rod.
Yes.
Sean.
Yes. Hell yes.
Yes.
Just yeses.
Like, do I agree with the principle of it, or do I think it's actually going to be a thing?
No, the principle of it.
100%.
Yeah, I'm cool with the idea of it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then that makes for a bad debate.
Oh no! F you, Ryan. I think that's a terrible.
They should all be very much available at low price points.
Rod, we'll wrap after this. Rod, you're a sneakerhead as well. I always tell everybody they've got it so easy in the Lego space, right? They have no idea what we go through on a release, man. If you don't get your fingers moving, you're out, dude. If you don't go through steps, you are out. That's it. Yeah. It's over. And the whining, I'm like, guys, you have a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years on some sets to get figs and sets that you want. When a pair of J's or whatever it is comes out, man, if you don't order it, you don't get it in 15 seconds. Here's
another caveat.
You have it real good. And I love that. I love that it's hard to get. It makes it more fun, man. We need more of that in Lego. Go ahead.
No, they're getting rid of that with Lego. Comic-Con stuff is done, which you should do a show, not with me. You should do someone with Comic-Con figures and have someone on that's not me because I don't know enough about it, but Lego moving away from Comic-Con figures is an excellent podcast to do with someone that like knows more about that and is more invested in it because they don't do Star Wars ones. I just don't care that much. But
I know a certain duck who would.
I know a certain duck.
Yeah.
He's got them all.
I got a duck on dial we could get for that one. Yes, sir.
Shoot.
It is interesting that they never done. I guess I never think about it that they never did Star Wars ones. Like you have like the Sheriff Deadpool and the Collector and Duck Deadpool or whatever. And it's like, wow, they have all these awesome like Marvel ones that I could rattle off and a bunch of DC ones too. But then I guess they never did Star Wars. So
See, Josh, that's what people tell me about clone troopers every time I say they're bad. They say they could be worse, and I'm like, they literally are worse now. They are the worst. They are that. Anyway,
by the way, what I meant by worse is, I mean, like, it's hard to get. If I said that, I meant, like, if you were in other fandoms, I mean, you collect other limited stuff too, Rod. I mean, like, we do have it pretty easy as far as
generally,
accessibility.
like, Lego's limited stuff isn't truly limited in the way that you think it is. Like, when you hear Amazon exclusive,
they're still making a bazillion copies
for 2 years, any day of the week.
Right,
Right.
right.
It's there. It's in every Lego store across the world. It is almost as available as being available in any other set. You just, I think the people that miss out on a set like that are the literal kids who, like, would otherwise have walked by and seen it on a store shelf, might not see it browsing Amazon because they are too young to browse Amazon. Otherwise, there is nothing lost there. I do think, like, so the idea of, like, Rex in it behind a paywall, right? And it being exclusive to that paywalled set, everything's a paywall, but besides the point. Shoes are a really good example, because I've only done it a few times. I'm sure Rod many more times than I, but, like, I've woken up at 9 a.m. to do a Nike drop or whatever on my phone at 9 a.m. or 8:59, refresh, buy, gone. Not even a chance. I think it's probably like Patriot shoes or something. But
it makes what goes on release night on Lego.com seem like a light snack. I mean,
not only can you not get
crazy.
the thing you want, you can't buy, like, the thing separately on the secondary market that you want, right? Like Rex, you can buy separately for pennies on the dollar compared to, like, the Venator, obviously.
Shout out to the factory.
It shouldn't be that way necessarily because of how we know it's pennies on the dollar, but it is right now. So I just don't see the point in being upset that he's in a $650 set when he's literally $35 on eBay. So
yeah,
there you go, guys.
I'll chime in on the like, as it pertains to the sneakers. Sneakers is definitely just a whole nother beast. I've got over 100 pairs of sneakers in my collection. I've been collecting sneakers since high school. Long time, and have had my fair share of difficult times on release day. I could think back to being in college, and, like, we might have, like, a night game where we're not playing until 7 p.m., but I would wake up at, like, 8 a.m. because there's a sneaker drop coming, and I want to make sure that I'm awake. And I would literally, like, pull up my phone, my laptop, and my iPad, all refreshing all of them just to try and increase my chances to pick something up. And
your friend's iPad and your friend's phone.
Yeah, I like take my teammate's phone and be like, dude, I need your phone for this drop. Like, like, definitely stuff like that. Like, it's absolutely insane.
You're never gonna beat the botters, though. Those botters got you, man.
It makes me honestly, I hadn't had an experience like that in a while until Logan and I, my wife, were going to Disney, and I was trying to get us in the queue for Rise of the Resistance, where it was like trying to buy sneakers all over again, because the park doesn't open until like 8 or 9, but I woke up at 6:50 because the first queue is at 7 a.m. And so I'm sitting there at 6:59, dragging down the refresh on the Disney app, trying to get in for Rise of the Resistance, and I'm like, this is trying to buy sneakers all over again. It's absolutely absurd, trying to buy sneakers like that. And to Ryan's point about exclusivity, comparing sneakers to minifigures, like you said, it's an Amazon exclusive for the Razor Crest and for, the Ghost and Phantom that we have, but they're still producing a large quantity enough that if to go to Amazon.com and buy it, it's available to you. So it's only exclusive in terms of a store not offering it. But when you think about sneaker exclusivity, like the undefeated Jordan 4s that that's like a holy grail for some people, is the undefeated Jordan 4s. They're like a military green.
Orange laces. Do you have them?
No, I don't have them. But
okay.
the thing with them is, like, there's literally like 25 pairs of that shoe in existence, and they have never made any more pairs. Like, there's 25 pairs of that shoe, and that's it. And the resale price for that shoe, they were given away in raffles. So you literally, you might have had to pay like $20 to enter the raffle, but
at the stores only, at the two, I think, undefeated stores at the time. Yeah.
And that shoe now resells, depending on the size, for like $25,000 plus. because it's truly like exclusive in that regard, where you know, like you have an exclusive Rex and exclusive Admiral Yularen in the set, but you know, as Ryan said, like people can buy the set and then you can buy the individual components later. You can't buy the individual component to the sneakers later. You got to get the whole thing. What's the point in having one shoe? Because
I'm just really into the laces.
Yeah. Or maybe just the laces by themselves is just a pair of orange Nike laces. So, you know.
Alicia says, this will be the last thing we're closing out. What's the appeal of collecting shoes? I don't know. I think it's a phase. I think a lot of, and by the way, we could ask the ladies that too. They collect them, I think, in a different way. I think I speak for Rod. I think it's part admiration, part hype, part exclusivity. You know, I don't know. I mean, it's all the above. It's just they speak to you. I don't know. For me personally, though, it was I grew up not broke, but we didn't have a whole lot of money, and there was a lot of stuff that came out that I couldn't get. And so when I had the means and they retro these things, I went and got the Jordans I always dreamed of having and never had them. It kind of started there, and then it just spiraled. So
now, do they? Not to drag out the shoe thing and turn this into shoe-onomics.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap. This is it. We gotta go.
That might be a fun podcast. Do they drops? Do they do them in like stores too? Like, do people line up at Foot Lockers in the morning like they do for Lego stores?
Lineups are dead. There was too many. Like, I was around for the lineups, and it was real hairy. They're pretty much dead. Like straight up lineups. Most of it for Foot Locker Champs. Those are all done via app now, and they actually make you take steps. You don't just enter there. Like, you got to like go in the store, join a membership. Like, they've really sort of monetized the raffles, so to speak. As far as from Nike, same story. They're doing a paid thing now, Rod. I still keep my eye on it. I don't really do it much, but they've got a membership now where I think it boosts your chances. But anyways, guys, that's. We could go on and on, but I want to keep this streamlined. We had it at about an hour, and then sneakers came up. So
I'll add one little thing to it if we have time, and then
all right,
just about the drops. When I was in college, I had a buddy that worked at Hibbett Sports at the mall in Athens. That was relatively close to the campus, and so you know, it was nice to have a connection in that regard, but. Basically, kind of how the drops work now is basically it is almost entirely online, where you have to be a member with Foot Locker or with Champs or Hibbett or Finish Line or whatever the case may be, and then you have to go on the app, try to get on right when the thing hits and the release happens. You go in, click your size, check out, and then usually you don't even it doesn't even get shipped to you. Usually you still have to go pick it up in store. So you still retain some of that physical aspect of it where, instead of lining up outside the Lego store, in the mall at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., you're on your phone at the time, but then you still have to go in physically to pick it up. But that helps eliminate some of the kind of violence that goes on, because there have been some very popular Jordan releases over the last few years around Christmas that have been, unfortunately very dangerous when people try and go in physically. So that's where the sneaker space has kind of moved towards online.
I've seen
some of that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen my share of all kinds of stuff in lineups, and I'm a bigger guy, so that helps. But I've seen some stuff, and you can't, you can't outnumber people. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Shaq. If there's 90 people that want to get in front of you and they're together, it's an ugly scene.
Well, thankfully, Shaq wears size 17, so people don't need his shoes.
I'm just saying, I picked a big, intimidating individual is what I meant to do with that. Cool. And then one more, Josh, I can't imagine a sadder world where I'm lined up beside a Foot Locker at 7 a.m. These guys are just as passionate as we are about lining up on release day. It's the same thing. So let's, All right, boys. I don't know how to read. We'll join it midstream. This has been the second episode of Figonomics. We want to thank Rod the Collector, Rod Blankenship 98 on YouTube. Go sub. He's just getting signed up.
Yes, sir.
The King is back. Thrawn is back. Ryan, great show. Brent, we'll see you real soon on a couple of Brickheads this Thursday night. Get us on replay again if you just joined. And peace.